Hi everyone, welcome to Cramer's Corner. If it looks like I'm on a boat, I'm not. My iPad's suspended from the ceiling so I can have the camera down looking at where I'm going to be working. So sorry if it makes you a little seasick, but I'll try my best. Eventually it'll stop shaking, but every time I touch it, it shakes. So welcome. I miss you guys and I hope you're doing well. We're going to be doing my favorite thing today to teach you guys, and this can even be for the little kids, first grade. You can try it. You're not going to get to be a better artist if you don't try, and why not? While you're stuck at home, try something new. It might be a little bit harder than maybe we would do in a classroom, but you know what? You're not going to become a better artist unless you try. So what I want to first do is say hi. And I heart you guys. Love you guys. And second of all, you can see that I have my placemat that I have set up. So if you don't have something like this, you can use newspaper. Or my friends, my art teacher friends over at Custer said take a cereal box and then you can use that. It's nice cardboard, nice and thick. So you don't make any marks on the table or anything, any place where you're working. This also is great if you don't have a piece of paper. You could use the cereal box, so that'll work just as good. So if you have old cereal box or newspapers. I happen to have this paper at home, so I'm going to use this paper. So if you don't have regular paper, I think I told you guys last time, if you can find a piece of junk mail, there's some space on this where you can draw, even though it says it's left blank, even though it's not blank. But you can use the space around here to draw. And then if you do just have regular copy paper is the best thing to use. But if you don't have copy paper, like I said, the junk mail or even lined paper will work too. Okay, so we're going to need that, and we're going to need a pencil. And then last week I asked you guys to create some blending sticks. So hopefully you have some blending sticks. I made 3 of the blending sticks, and the videos were sent out last week. So hopefully you have these made. If you don't have these made, it's okay. I just wanted you to try to make these because it's kind of a tricky thing to do. But if you can't run out to the store and buy some, you can always make your own. But if you didn't have a chance to make these, I'm going to show you something else you could use. So you could actually use a Q-tip. So if you have a Q-tip and you don't have these, go run and get a Q-tip real quick because you can use that today. Or if you don't have a Q-tip available, you can actually take some paper towel. If you take some paper towel, and this is just a half a sheet of paper towel that I used. So a half a sheet of paper towel, and then I'm going to fold it in half. And then I'm going to fold it in half again. And then I'm going to fold it in half again. And then I'm going to fold it one more time this way. Okay, so I'm going to do that one more time just so you can see. So paper towel, just a half sheet. You can use a full sheet and just fold it into a half sheet. That's fine. So you're going to go in half, like a book, then in half again, like a hot dog, then in half again, like a smaller hot dog, and then we're going to go right in the middle here. And then one thing to make this a little bit stronger, you're actually going to take this corner and fold it over. And I'm going to use some tape and tape this up so it stays. So I'm just going to take some tape and just kind of tape this up right here so it stays at a point. Okay, so I'm going to do that. So this would just be a simple piece of paper towel folded, and then now it has a little bit of a point just like these do, but it's just a little bit bigger. Okay, so if you don't have the blending sticks, paper towel or a Q-tip will work great. Okay, so we just had all those things: pencil, paper, and our blending sticks, or if you have your other blenders, that's fine too. So you got all that stuff. Now we're ready for our lesson. Okay, So we're going to be doing a shading lesson, and this is one of my favorite things to teach students. I love doing shading. So we're going to do a value scale first. So it's our shading scale. So what we're going to do to get ready for that is we're actually going to take our paper, and we're going to go about 2 fingers from the top. 2 fingers, 2 fingers, and we're just going to fold. So it doesn't have to be perfect, 2 fingers, just fold it. Okay, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Fold 2 fingers. And then we're going to fold that again, just right on top of itself. So we're kind of making like a little bit of a roll, folded roll. And then we're going to go one more time. One more time. Okay, so we did, here, we'll do it again. So I have first fold, 1, 2, and then 3. And that's all. And then open it up, and this is actually easier to work. See how it keeps curling up? So flip it over. So that way it's not going to keep curling up on you, and we'll actually press it flat by the time we're done. So that works out pretty well. All right, so on the folds, now I'm left-handed, so mine's going to look a little different than yours because I'm going to be drawing from this side. So on the folds, just draw on these folded lines. Oops. Doesn't have to be perfect. This is just practice. Okay? Practice. So you have those 3 lines. Now what we're going to do in the middle one, we're going to start at the middle. We're going to leave the top one by itself right now. So in the middle one, we're going to draw a line right in the middle. And actually, we're going to go through to the second one because we can do that for both. So we're going to go right down the middle. Now we're going to go about 2 fingers, 2 fingers, 2 fingers. We're going to put 2 more lines in here. So if I go about 2 fingers, we have 1 there, about 2 fingers, 1 there. Because we're going to have 3 boxes on this side, and then we're going to have 3 boxes on the other side. So about 2 fingers is good. Doesn't have to be perfect. Like I said, it's just practice. Okay? So we're going to do a shading scale. And we're going to do this in 6 sequences, 6 shades, basically. So I'm going to show you. And if you go online, you find lots of people teach it different ways. This is how I teach it, and this is just what I do. It's what I like. But if you go online and find something that someone else does, that's fine too. So this is actually going to be number 6 for us. We're going to count backwards. So right above it, just put the number 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, so 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then up here, we're just going to write shading, S-H-A-D-I-N-G, shading. And then we're going to put scale, S-C-A-L-E. So this is going to be our shading scale. So I'm going to teach you how to do that. My 5th graders and 6th graders know this, but they haven't done it in a while. So it's good practice for you guys just to do this. Whenever you can practice, as always. I do this even when I'm in meetings and I'm just listening to the speaker, and I practice my shading all the time. So what we're going to do in this number 6 box first is we're going to make our darkest value. And value is how hard you press on the surface of the paper using your pencil. So you're going to use a lot of pressure. And what we're going to do is we're going to create lines that are going to go up and down. So in this second box down, or the last box down, if you put an arrow up and down like this, okay, now just in the middle here, we're going to go up and down with our pencil. So you're just going to color up and down, and this is the one time you're allowed to color with Mr. Pencil. It's okay. And you don't have to fill in the whole box. See how I'm just kind of going in the middle? It doesn't have to be the whole thing. Okay? So I'll give you a second to finish that. So that's up and down. Now we're going to go side to side. So we did vertical. Now we're going to do horizontal. Now you're going to go horizontal or side to side, and you're going to go right on top of that. Now, some videos you'll see online, they'll actually do different directions and all that stuff, but this is actually sufficient. You don't need to be getting all crazy with it because that's pretty dark right there. You can see how nice and dark that is. Now, what we're going to do in number 5 is we're going to make this just a little bit lighter. So instead of going 2 directions, what do you think we're going to do? You're right. We're just going to go 1 direction. So, and it's not the band, it's the way the pencil goes. But you can listen to One Direction while you're doing this if you want to. So I'm just going to go up and down. You can go side to side. It's either way, whatever you want. So up and down is all I do. So I just kind of go back and forth. And you might be able to see, it's kind of hard maybe on the camera, but when you're working with it in person, you can see it is a little bit lighter. So that's our number 6. And this is our number 5. And our number 6 would be like the shadows. So any shadow that an object makes usually is your darkest. We call this our hard shadows. They're the darkest ones. So shadows would be that. This will go on objects and sometimes in other places too. So now what we're going to do is take one of our blending sticks. So grab one of your blending sticks. Now mine hasn't been used yet, so it's clean. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my blending stick and I'm actually going to rub it right on number 6. And I'm going to grab all the graphite I can and get lots of graphite on my blending stick. And then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to bring it to number 4. Now you usually have to go back and grab more. And bring it to number 4. Grab more and bring it to number 4. And you want this to be kind of a nice dark shadow. Bring it to number 4. So you just keep going back and forth until you get kind of a dark value, but not as dark as 5. So, and you can see it's now a little bit softer. And number 6 has actually gotten darker because we blended it. So now it's darker and it's actually shiny because of the graphite. So I'm going to bring that over here. And this one is where I use my blending stick. So we're going to call this the blending stick. Blending stick. And we're going to rub the blending stick. Rub on 6. So blending stick, rub on 6, and then you're going to press hard. Press hard. And that'll give you a darker shadow there. Okay? So now we're going to use the blending stick again, and we're going to go to 5. We're going to grab some from 5 now. It's not quite as dark. And I'm going to go over to 3, but I'm not going to press quite as hard. I'm going to be a little bit softer. So this is kind of a less press with my blending stick. So just a little bit less pressure. And I'm still going to need to go over and get some more graphite as I need it. But that's a little bit lighter. So that's going to be our blending stick. Blending stick. Rub on 5, and we're going to do less pressure. Less press, we'll say. Okay? Less press, not so hard. And then now we're going to check and see. We did 3. Now we're going to see how much graphite is at the end of our blending stick to see if we can do 2. Oh yeah, that's perfect. Now you're just going to use the rest of the graphite. You don't want to grab any more. You're just going to use whatever's on your blending stick and do a really soft shadow. Now you might have to come back and just kind of hit it a little bit, grab a little bit and come back in here just to load it up a little bit. But that's just a real light, light shadow. So that one's going to be just the blending stick. And we're going to do just blending stick. And we're gonna do a light press. Light press. And then this one over here, we're gonna leave. We're gonna leave this all alone. Leave, bright white. We're not going to do anything with that because that would be where the light is touching the object. So we have our values. You can see we have our darkest, number 6. We go all the way to 1. And you can see where they change. So the reason why we're doing this is because I'm going to show you, we're actually going to do a sphere, a cone, a cylinder, and a cube. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to show you a little, not trick, but something you can do at home that will help you understand what we're going to be doing. So we're actually going to be using a ball. So I'll do it, and if you want to get a ball and a flashlight later, you can. But you can see from the light that I have right now, and see my shadow of my finger too, it's creating a shadow. So if I drew my finger, I would have the shadow down there. So here's the ball. So this is the light that I have on now. So I'm going to turn that off. And I'm going to turn my flashlight on. And I want to show you what happens to the, depending on where the light is, the shadow changes. So see how it gets nice and long, turns into a circle. Will never create a circle for a shadow unless it's right above it and it creates a circle. As soon as you go down the edge, it's always going to be an oval. So see how big that oval can get depending on where the light is. And depending on how you change the light determines where the shadow goes. And you can see how bright the golf ball is, where it's touching, that's our bright white. And then you can see where I have my bright white, and then I get into my other values. Here's my, maybe my 2 or my 3 value, and then you can start to see where I get into my 4 and 5, and then this one down here is called our hard shadow. That's our number 6. So that's what we're going to be creating today, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So let me get set up for that. So get our light back on, and what we're going to do is just use the next part of our paper. So we're just going to use down here, we're going to keep our value scale so we can see it, so we know what we can do. And we're just going to do a little practicing today. Next week I'll show you what we're going to do with all of it all together. But today we're just going to do a little practicing. So what I need you to do is just make a circle down here. It doesn't have to be a very big one, just make a circle. And it doesn't have to be a perfect circle, it's okay. And what we're going to do first is we drew a circle. Now our light source is going to be coming just like I had my flashlight coming from this side. So we're going to actually have it come from this side too. So we're going to, I always like to put a little arrow just to kind of remind me where the light's coming from or what direction the light's coming from. So it can come from this way or up a little bit higher. It's really up to you. Okay, so if the light's coming in from this way, now what will happen is when the light comes in from that way, you have to remember we're on a flat surface. We're on a table. So we're on a table. So we have to have our shadow go straight out on the table. So it's going to start at the bottom of the circle, and we're going to create an oval that goes straight out and comes back around. But make sure it comes straight out so it's horizontal. We don't want to have something where it might be at an angle. Let me see if I can show you real quick. If I did this, if I have a circle and then my shadow does this, for this particular, then it's going to look like it's falling. That would be the table. And we want our table to be nice and straight, flat, okay? So what we're going to do is our shadow that's on the table is our hardest shadow. That's our number 6. So, and don't worry about if you get out of the lines a little bit, because you can go back and erase, but you're just going to get in here and go your 2 directions. So I'm going to go straight across with my horizontal lines, coloring it in, and just try and do your best around the edges. I'll show you what we can do to clean that up if you go outside the edges a little bit. It's really nice shading. Shading and your eraser are going to be really good friends. And now I'm going to go up and down inside here, and I'll actually go outside the edge a little bit so you can see where we can just kind of fix this up a little bit. So now I'm going to go my vertical and horizontal. So you can see where I kind of got out of the edge a little bit. I just take an eraser. If you have a pencil that has a nice eraser on it, you can just clean it up. Now I'm going to tell you one thing, make sure you don't do is wipe your hand across it. You never want to wipe your hand across it because this is graphite, and as soon as you smear it, now you have a mess. So never, never, ever take your hand, and I know it's normal to go, whew, don't do that. I actually want to flip it over and then take the eraser and get it out of your way. So, and then I'm going to come back in here and clean this up a little bit and make a better line right along here. So I just have that kind of cleaned up a little bit. So remember, this is just practice, so it's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. So we have our hard shadow. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create our number 5 shadow. So this is number 6. Now we're going to do number 5. And because this is a round shape, what we're going to actually do is we're going to create what we call a crescent moon, or, well, it's a crescent. So what we're going to do is follow the circle, and you don't want to go past the bottom of the shadow. You stop here, and you're just going to go one direction, and you're just going to go right up to the top, right down to the bottom, up to the top, down to the bottom, and you're just going to follow this curve. And you go, we say maybe about, I usually have my older kids, we do about 1/4 of the way. So I'm just doing one direction. I just bring it over just a little bit. Okay, so it kind of looks like a crescent moon right there. Now what I'm going to do is take my blending stick, and I'm going to grab some graphite from number 6, my hard, because I did 5, this is 6, this is 5, and now I'm going to create 4 right here, 4. So I might have to grab a little bit more from my number 6, and I'm going to create my number 4.